Hello, internet, YouTube, whatever I'm talking on
Hello.
at the time. But it's me, Dave Meow, back from the past, future, present, whatever. But today, I have...
Oh, yeah, I'm Kyle. Yeah, I'm Icecyrpt on YouTube. Nobody knows about me. I'm just kind of here.
Yeah, he's here, but he's cool. He's Q.
Maybe somebody thinks that.
So, Kyle, what's today's discussion about?
Oh, well, today, for no apparent reason, we're going to be talking about our first experience, because we are both big Sonic fans, for the most part. So, we're going to be talking about how we got into the franchise and our opinions on every canon game up to date. And
Right.
whatnot.
So,
Dave, why don't you start off, I guess?
okay, well, I'll go ahead and discuss how I first got into Sonic. It started, back when I was just a wee lad, and it was my 6th birthday. But, I had no idea what a Sega console was, and I think someone in my family told my parents to get a Super Nintendo because it was rad, and I kind of I guess most people, I started playing Mario first, but of course when my cousin turned 6, she got a Genesis, and sadly Sonic 1 wasn't my first game, but Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was, and I remember those days, just getting through Chemical Plant Zone at the age of 7. But I enjoyed it because I found that Sonic the colors were better. He was faster than Mario. He felt more hipster than Mario. Mario just seemed like the old man now that took forever.
Sonic was a hipster.
Yeah, so, Kyle, what got you into Sonic the Hedgehog?
Oh, when I was about 3, I believe, I was in my basement, and I don't know, I was just looking through some shelves because I was a curious little kid. But I found the box for the Sega Genesis, and it had a picture of Sonic on it, so, being a little kid, I was like, oh my god, he's so cool! Mom, what's this? And then my mom's like, well, I'll show you, honey. And my parents, they plugged it in and they showed me what it was, and I thought it was just the freaking coolest thing ever. And I was so bad at the game, I remember, because I purposely jumped off every cliff because I liked Sonic's dying animation. He flew upwards and he's like, oh. So,
because that was the right way at the time to play a Sonic game.
Basically, and I love, oh my god, the colors. I've always been obsessed with freaking colorful games and movies. Anything that has a lot of bright colors I love, so Sonic was freaking awesome at the time, and it still is.
Right. And, of course, I still don't own a single Sega system to this date, because I moved on with Nintendo. But, of course, things like emulators and things like that, I got a chance to go back and really play the classics. So,
Indeed.
because the first Sonic game I really owned, console-wise, was Sonic Adventure 2. Battle for the GameCube.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of people's first, I guess.
Of course, I believe Adventure wasn't that one of the launch titles for the GameCube when it came out?
I was it?
I want to say it was that.
I believe so.
Sonic Adventure 2, Pikmin, Super Smash Bros. Melee,
Yeah, because
and Luigi's Mansion were the launch games.
Yeah, because I remember when I was a kid, I had some gaming magazine, and it was advertising a bunch of stuff for the GameCube, this, it's a revolutionary new console and stuff, and how it was supposed to have, 3D built in, but that never fell through, I guess. And I remember seeing like Sonic Adventure 2 ads on this, like on the side and whatnot.
Right.
But
well, I guess we should really get to the more, topic of what we're talking about now.
Indeed. So, Sonic 1.
Sonic the Hedgehog. So, Kyle, what was your favorite moment from, Sonic the Hedgehog?
Sonic the Hedgehog 1. Favorite moment? I would say my favorite moment was just the beginning of the game, like Green Hill Zone. You really got like a sense that, it was a really happy, peaceful place, but you knew that, bad things were happening because there was all these mechanical machinery that was taking over. And apparently, I found this out just last year, is that Sonic 1 was actually supposed to be very environmental based, I guess. It was supposed to send out a message, I guess. I guess I wouldn't say that, but it was basically how the story was supposed to go was that you start out in Green Hill Zone and you go through all these, the levels progressively get more mechanical and overtaken by machinery.
I see what you're getting at.
And I guess you could still say that kind of holds true with Sonic 1, but I guess a little bit later through development they were like not figuring out, but I can't talk. It'd be nice if you could cut this part out, David. But I gotta think of what to say. I can't speak. God damn it.
Well, I'll let you think on it. Probably for me would be, first starting, you would hear the music in the background, and you're going for all this. It was a 2D background, but it felt amazing. How the old commercials were. Sega does, Nintendo don't. You had speed, and and like with Sonic, you could destroy a bunch of destroy 3 or 4 enemies in seconds, compared to Mario, who would take forever to jump on one enemy, run, jump on another one. But with Sonic, it was just amazing.
Yeah, and I don't know if you want to edit through this, David, but how the levels were supposed to progress is they were supposed to get more overtaken by machinery as the story went on. But through development, they discovered that halfway through the game, it got really boring after seeing all this machinery, and it's basically more of the same halfway through the story. So they changed the levels up so that you would go through a mechanical industrial level, and then you would maybe go to some kind of greenery resort-ish place.
Right.
Afterwards, so it would just keep it fresh. Really, there was a nice balance there.
And the mastermind behind Someone Who Wants a Machine Empire, I guess that would be, the number one villain for the Sonic franchise, Dr. Robotnik.
Dr. Eggman, now he's known as nowadays.
Yeah, but of course, back in the 90s, he was, this is Robotnik, and, dreams of an empire.
And he was a lot more menacing back then.
Yeah, and every time you got to the end of, of each act, of that stage, like when you got to the end of Green Hill, you would meet up with him, and then you would fight him, and then you would save the little critters at the end, and each time you would end up fighting him, he would he seemed to attach a different type of weapon or something to his pod gravitational device machine.
Exactly, and that's the kind of stuff that I like, and I like how they're bringing that back in the newer games too. How they would just have the regular Eggomatic machine, and then you would just insert that into a bigger robot, or just attach something to it.
Like people like Bowser for Mario, he just waits until the end. At least Eggman, goes in there and tries to do something about it. I mean, back in the old days.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, Bowser did, that was the thing plot with Super Mario Brothers. Bowser would be there at the end of each castle, but after that, he was kind of, I'll just let either my children or my slave minions, attack that plumber, and then if they can't do it, I'll do it at the end. Where with Robotnik, yeah, he'll have robots, but yet he'll still, try to come in and is like, hey, bitch, this is my turf.
Basically. So then after about a year after Sonic 1, they released Sonic 2, since Sonic 1 was such a big success, of course, because it was...
So, of course, that was the first game I played, was Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
And that was a lot of people's first, I know.
And, of course, we got some really good, yet again, more good music from it, and the stages were good. And
everything was improved over the first game, which is how a sequel should be.
And with a sequel, we got, just like how Mario had Luigi, Sonic now has a partner, which was Miles Tails per Hour, or short for we'll just call him Tails.
He was so adorable back then.
He was, and Sonic the Hedgehog 2, came out with features like the 2-player kind of deal. Like one person would be like Sonic, one person would be Tails. You could like race for certain stages, or you could be just 2 players throughout the whole game, and whoever 2-player would just be the greatest meat shield ever.
Yeah, basically, if you pick up the controller in the single-player game, you'll play as Tails, but it's very hard to control. I guess not hard to control, but it's, the screen only follows Sonic, but Sonic moves too freaking fast for Tails to even catch up to him, so...
Right, because I remember I would play Sonic the Hedgehog 2 now with my nephew, and I would play as Tails, and he would go so far ahead that they, just cut me out, and then they'll eventually, have Tails fly in, and then I get control again.
Yeah.
But, what else about Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was there, Kyle?
Well, Sonic 2, it had a lot more levels. The levels were bigger, I believe.
Right.
And basically it made more of a story, I guess. They had I think that was the first game where they actually had kind of, cutscenes, I guess. Sonic 1 was very basic in terms of stories, we gotta stop Dr. Robotnik or whatever. I mean, you could say that it's the same about Sonic 2, but Sonic 2 does it in a more clever way, I guess. There's a lot, it's a simple story, but there's a lot packed in there.
Right, because in the story with this, this time, instead of just being on one place, this fight, finally takes you to space, which, brings you, the Death Egg.
Exactly, and that's one thing I really like about it.
Which, once you, defeat Robotnik again, you end up... Because the next game that will be coming out, that sequel actually follows, right from Sonic 2,
Yep, exactly. Sonic 2, it ended on a cliffhanger, which led into Sonic 3 and Knuckles. Or just Sonic 3, depending on how you look at it.
Right. And, of course, if you want to get the whole story, just go ahead and purchase Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Knuckles.
Yep, and Sonic 3 and Knuckles was a lock-on pack, I guess. It's not really a pack, but what happened was Sonic 3 came out first. About a month afterwards, they came out with a game called Sonic and Knuckles, which had a slot on the top of it, which you could attach Sonic 1 or Sonic 2 and 3. When you attach Sonic 2, you could play through Sonic 2 as Knuckles. When you attach Sonic 3, you could play through Sonic 3 as Knuckles, but it also unlocked, well, not really unlocked, but it merged both the stories of Sonic and Knuckles and Sonic 3, so that it would become one whole story, really. And it's not just merging the stories, but it also changes some things out, or some things up, rather. There's like objects that are in different places. There's different routes. There's the music's changed slightly if you can hear throughout the levels. And Sonic 3 Knuckles, it was exactly how Sonic 2 was in terms of how it was, it was an improvement over the other one, I guess.
Right.
It had, for the first time ever in the Sonic series, there was a save feature. So you can now save your game instead of, having to start over every single time you die.
Yeah, and as a kid, you always hated that. You would get up to, like, the last level of, like, Sonic 1 or 2.
Yep.
And then you lose all your lives.
Yep, but they found a way to...
Just so you would start at, like, Green Hill Zone all over again.
Exactly, and they knew that, so they found a way to fix that, and, Sonic 3 and Knuckles is my favorite game out of the series, because, the levels are just massive. They are absolutely... Right. They're about 10 times the size as,
Like, and plus there was, like, so many routes you could take to get to the end of that level.
Exactly. And it's just... And specific routes are designed for specific characters, meaning you can't get through those routes without, that specific character. Which, it's just, like... it keeps things fresh, really, because you're like, hey, I wonder if I can get through there as Knuckles or Tails or whatever.
Right, and of course, something like important that we should have like kind of discussed in Sonic 1 was the Chaos Emeralds.
Oh yeah.
Because but we haven't went too far ahead. From playing Sonic 1, you after getting 50 rings in the stage, you could make your way to the special stage.
That's
And both the special stages from Sonic 1 and 2 were different, but it was pretty the goal was to just get the Chaos Emerald, no matter what. But the Chaos Emeralds in Sonic 1 weren't really, that big of a deal. Because it didn't really change the ending that much, did it?
Well, what they did in Sonic 1 was you got the good ending if you got all the Chaos Emeralds, because once you got all the Chaos Emeralds, it would bring life to Green Hill Zone.
True. And of course, what we discovered from Sonic 2, the Chaos Emeralds hold a lot more power than you think they do, which could give the ability of Sonic to become Super Sonic. Pretty much Super Saiyan fused with a hedgehog.
Basically, a super furry.
Yeah, so... Which Sonic needed, but he had to obtain all of the Chaos Emeralds. And of course, that was also a big thing Robotnik wanted, was, because they had power, and they could power his, machine empire. And of course with Sonic the Hedgehog 3, yet again, because when you start off the game, like I said earlier, it was it comes right off from Sonic the Hedgehog 2. So, because you're Super Sonic and Tails is flying in his plane, and then you make your way onto this magical island with the Chaos Emeralds, just for Knuckles to sucker punch you. And, you lose your super ability, and he takes all the Chaos Emeralds because, you're apparently an Emerald Thief.
I guess so.
Not like Sonic, I don't chuckle.
And we'll discuss that when we get to it.
But, other than that, I thought the music... Now, this is what I heard. I heard... when they were composing the music for Sonic the Hedgehog 3, that Michael Jackson was part of the music as well.
That is true.
Because what level was it where you could actually hear Michael doing his little scream thing?
That was Launch Base, I think.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah, and...
Because it took me a while, but, after I really paid attention, I would go on YouTube just to listen to the track, and then I would hear it. I would hear his
Yeah.
deal.
Oh.
I can't do the scream, but
yeah, if you listen to it was actually rumored for a long time. Like there are people who said it was wrong or whatever, but just about a year ago, Summer Sonic 2010, I believe, Jun Senoi actually confirmed that he did work on the soundtrack, but he wasn't credited in the credits because he didn't like the low qualityness of his work because the Sega Genesis can only handle so many sounds. So
right.
it can't be as high quality as say whatever they have back then.
Right.
What would it be records or CDs?
That was the 90s. I don't think CDs weren't that big. I think it was
like
cassette tapes.
Cassette tapes, yeah.
I don't think it was until like late 90s, early 2000s when things like CDs were, going to become popular.
Yeah. But yeah, if you listen to a lot of the music, you'll hear little bits from songs that he's already composed. Like you'll hear a bit of Smooth Criminal in there on Icecyrpt. And there's some song, I don't remember the name of it, but he snuck a little part of one of his other songs into what was it? Casino Night.
Oh yeah.
Or not Casino Night, Carnival Night.
Huh?
Not Casino Night, Carnival Night.
Yeah.
Wrong night.
I've heard that. Yeah, Casino was in Sonic 2. But let's see here. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 also enters a little bit more to the story and a little bit more power from the Chaos Emeralds, which were the Super Emeralds.
Yes, and you can only get these if you attached the Sonic and Knuckles, or if you were playing Sonic 3 and Knuckles, if you attached both the cartridges.
And this would make you into Hypersonic, correct?
Indeed.
And Hypersonic was like Supersonic, but
hyper.
But hyper, and like he would flash many colors, and he was the shit. But you had to like really work for it.
Yeah, basically. Not as hard as in Sonic 2, but
right. Like I think I like the special stages. Like if I would prefer between 1, 2, and 3's, my favorite special stage, it would be 3, then 1, then 2.
Yeah, I'd say that's about the same for me.
Because the thing with 2 is, you had to collect a certain amount of rings, and you would have to dodge things like bombs.
Bombs?
Or things like that. And if you hit those, you would lose rings, which would make your goal to get that Chaos Emerald even harder. But, of course, with Sonic the Hedgehog 3's special stage, you were collecting orbs, and you wanted to collect the blue ones, because if you hit the red ones, then the stage was over, and, well, you didn't really get your emerald now, did you?
Mm-hmm.
But I thought the controls for that were a little bit easier than Sonic 2's special stage.
It was much easier, and what made Sonic 2's special stages so insanely hard is that Tails always screwed you over.
Right.
Because he always got hit by everything, and he counts for your rings too, apparently.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
He can count for your rings as well.
Don't know why.
That's why I think it's a little bit better if you have a second player with you, because there's like less chance of a screw up.
Exactly, because they're doing what they know what they're doing, unlike AI.
Of course. And then like also what we discovered from Sonic the Hedgehog 3, that the mightiest emerald would be the Master Emerald,
which Knuckles protects, and it also keeps Angel Island floating in the sky.
Now, if I'm correct, would it be Robotnik who told Knuckles about Sonic being like a thief or whatever?
Yes, basically why, like, the reason Knuckles seems like a bad guy in Sonic 3, well, at the beginning at least, is because Eggman or Robotnik has tricked him into thinking that Sonic stole the Master Emerald. So basically, he's being an asshole to you for the entire game for no reason, because he doesn't know what's going on.
Right. But then when he does, he's like, "Oh, I've been tricked. I'm such a dumbass." But I can still try to get my emerald back. And so then he helps Sonic and Tails.
And then it becomes cool.
Things like the ultimate fight in space happens, and then things like that.
Exactly, and I don't know. Overall, Sonic 3 Knuckles is just, I don't know, the best story out of the 3 Genesis titles. Just, I don't know. I love the music. I love the gigantic scope of the levels. It's just there was a lot more of a story than the first 2 games. It was happy, but it was serious. It was epic, I guess. Like epic,
right.
Epic in terms of not really the internet term, but the proper.
And let's see here. Anything else you would like to talk about for Sonic 3?
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it is fucking awesome. I guess that leaves with one more game. I wouldn't say it was the popular out of the Genesis ones. I mean, it had its time, but I haven't played it more than just once, and I liked it. I just enjoyed Sonic 3 more, and of course, now to play this game now, there was an add-on which was the Sega CD for the Genesis. And, of course, that would lead to the game I'm talking about, is Sonic CD.
Yes, which actually came out before Sonic 2. Which is why, if you play Sonic CD, the spin dash is very delayed. It's kind of hard to work, really. It's really annoying, and that's one of the things that I don't like about Sonic CD. If that aspect was eliminated, then I'd probably like the game a whole lot more. But, I like the game.
Right, I like it too, but like I've said, I'd probably play one of the first 3 than CD.
Yeah.
I don't know, CD's story, it was okay.
CD had a pretty good story. I mean, I don't know. The thing I really just don't like about Sonic CD is the spin dashes, because I don't know about you, but in the 2D Sonic games, I spin dash a lot. Like, I spin dash every time I land on a platform, basically.
No, well, I'm good for spin dashing myself. Since with CD, it gave a little bit more room to do things like the 3-dimensional going around the loop kind of deal. Or, like, wasn't the special stage in CD, wasn't that in a 3-dimensional?
It was. 3-dimensional kind of plane, I guess. I mean, of course, it's not 3D. Obviously, it was just kind of sprites getting bigger as you moved along.
But with CD, your story could have been different depending on how you went for the game, because you could have gone for the past, future. You end up getting a good past, good future, bad future.
Yeah, and that's what Sonic CD is. Well, one of the things that it's remembered for is that it had, there were so many different levels. Like, they weren't very big, but there were so many different variations of them, because you could go to, like, the past of the level, and then you can go to the future, and they're all designed very uniquely. Which, that's what really makes me like Sonic CD, is because there's, like, there's so much variation, and, there's so much thought put into each level, and each, time space of the level.
Right. Let's see. And CD brought us other than Knuckles, because Knuckles is somewhat of a rival to Sonic.
Yeah.
But Knuckles isn't. He wasn't really like evil. He was just tricked. So I mean, I guess I would do the same thing to Knuckles. I'm here. I'm gonna protect the Master Emerald, but I don't want no one to steal this. I don't care what you look like, or whatever. But CD gave us probably one of the more classical rivals, which would be Metal Sonic.
Metal Sonic, which I actually thought was Shadow back in the day because my mom convinced me that it was Shadow.
Oh.
So
Your
I was
mom
like,
is silly.
she was like, that's Shadow. I was like, what? Shadow? Oh my god.
Metal Sonic, of course, was built to do, the copy Sonic, but be more robotical, pretty much.
Yeah, basically he's just a robot clone of Sonic, except he can fly, which Sonic cannot do.
And then I remember that one level in the game where you gotta get to the end. It was more of a race between you and Metal Sonic, and I do what I remember with Amy being there at the end. You know what I'm talking about?
What do you mean?
It was from it would be from today's I can't think of the Stardust
Speedway?
Yeah, Stardust Speedway. Do you remember doing that?
Doing the race?
Yeah.
Saving me? I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that. That was probably one of the best things I got from it.
Yeah, that's probably the most memorable part of it.
But other than that, the music was pretty good. But I don't think it compared to anything between Sonic 2 and 3.
They're both good in their own ways. I like Sonic 2 and 3 because it's a lot more of a Sonic feel, I guess. The music in Sonic CD, it doesn't feel like Sonic music, but it also fits, and it's also really good music, in my opinion.
Right. Well, other than that, you got anything else you want to talk about CD with?
I guess not really. I guess there's one thing that we kind of forgot to mention, but there is that that first time anime opening. Ever seeing Sonic in animation? That was a big thing for Sonic CD.
That was a big thing with the Sega CD, though. It seemed like every game they had was either, like an anime or like something from a movie or something like that.
Yeah, but it was really cool to see Sonic in that for the first time.
Let's just say that the Sonic or the Sega CD would have been a better choice than the Philips CDI.
Oh yes. Gross. Anyways,
remember, toast and lots of spaghetti
and bombs. Anyways,
and yeah, but other than that, we'll save that for another day.
Alright, so then for how many years? There was a few years where Sonic kind of took it easy, I guess.
Yeah, it was more like because we had like the Saturn that came out, but the Saturn gave us things like
Sonic R and
it was more.
It was basically spin-offs, I guess.
Because I think they were trying to take ideas from like Nintendo in a way, because we had at this time for the Super Nintendo, you had like the first Mario Kart, Super Mario Kart, and Sonic R is like that, but a little different.
Yeah, except it's not good.
Yeah, it's not good. Everyone is Super Sonic Racing, but other than that, the Saturn just gave us this and that. It wasn't until the Dreamcast, really. Of course, sadly, I didn't know what a Dreamcast was until 2004, because, I had a GameCube in 2001.
Oh, well, I was the same way.
But, I'm actually thinking about the next time I see one in a pawn shop, I might just pick a Dreamcast up and might actually get my... I own those games, but I might actually get the Venture series on the Dreamcast. Be a little unique.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Adventure 1 was basically a big step up, I guess.
That was,
I guess you could say. It was
Sonic Adventure was the game that, really gave Sega the boost. It was new. It was fresh. It was, it was something yet again that was, better than Super Mario.
No.
No. I better not do that, or I might just get people to hate me. Super Mario 64 was good.
But yeah. But I mean, I can kind of see what you're saying though. Is that it was more of an experience. I guess
Right.
you got a lot more from it, because I remember my first time playing Sonic Adventure. I was blown away, like seeing that opening cutscene, like freaking seeing
right?
Sonic in CGI. Oh my god, that was unbelievable. And I was playing through the game, and I got lost in Mystic Ruins, but I didn't care because it was freaking awesome. I got lost in a Sonic game.
That's how I was, but of course, I not owning a Dreamcast, I had to wait. This might have not have even happened, but I figured the GameCube was going to eventually do it. I had to wait for Sonic Adventure DX to come out onto the GameCube, and of course, Sonic Adventure 2 Battle was already out on the GameCube, so I went back. But to be honest, I kind of enjoyed the story and all that from Sonic Adventure 1 than Sonic Adventure 2, and I'm like, today I'd still probably play Sonic Adventure over the second one.
Yeah.
I mean,
definitely.
I like the second one. I'm just comparing.
See, I think Sonic Adventure, it's more fitting of an adventure game because you actually adventure in it. You explore.
Right. The title gives it it's not like level.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Level.
Basically, it doesn't force you to progress really, because you can just explore.
Because you would, with Sonic Adventure, cutscene, boss, cutscene, fuck you, Tails, I'm going to explore Station Square, then I'll go save you. And of course, do a stage. Then you can explore some more, find some secrets, some hints, talk to the random people who don't know nothing.
Yeah, basically. And it had the story was amazing at the time, and graphics, everything was just mind-blowing what they have done.
I know. And let's see here. The gameplay, it gave us this time it was a little bit different because back in the day you could only play as Sonic, Tails, Knuckles. But with Sonic Adventure, now you got a choice to play not with just 3 characters, but what was it? 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 characters, right?
In which game?
Sonic Adventure.
Sonic Adventure?
Is it Sonic?
I think
Tails,
it was 6.
Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, Big, Gamma, and then as Super Sonic, but I guess it's still Sonic.
Yeah, so it's just 6 characters, I guess. But,
okay.
yeah, overall I like Adventure more than Adventure 2 because Adventure 2, you might disagree with me on this, but I don't really think it's worthy for the Adventure title because you don't do a lot of adventuring.
Right, it's more of a, it's like,
it's like
the game
classics.
Takes over for you. You just do a level, do a boss, do a few more levels, fight a boss. Yeah, but before we get into Adventure 2, playing with Adventure, it was a different variety, and it would show the story, everyone's different perspective of how that story went, and things like that. Of course, Sonic was still speed. Tails was, I guess, speed mixed in with flight, really?
Yeah, I guess it was basically like Sonic's gameplay, although it was kind of nerfed a bit. I guess he was just a little bit slower, but it's okay because
that's why when you would go for a stage as Tails, it would give you, it would show the meter on the bottom, and it was a race.
Yeah,
against Sonic.
In a sense, he was faster though because he could fly. He could just fly to the end of the level.
Right, because they would give you those green booster things in the level, and you would like Windy Valley, for an example, you would go through Windy Valley faster because of those things than you could with Sonic, because those things would take you for like the other half of the level in like 2 seconds.
And the thing about Tails in Windy Valley is, you don't even have to go through the entire level. You can just fly a little bit to the left, and you'll gradually land down to the goal. So you can just skip the entire level.
Right. Because with Tails, it was more of, you could skip a lot of the levels with him, not like Sonic. But this was like this part in the whole story where Tails, he learns that he doesn't need to depend on Sonic forever to be there, He mans up, I guess.
You mean like at this point in the franchise?
Yeah, like this part in the franchise, because, always depending on Sonic, to be there. And, Tails at the end does, stomp the missile or whatever from going off, and he fights Eggman at the end of his story, so...
Yeah, which I think is really neat, because, up to that point in the entire series, Tails was just kind of tagging along with Sonic. It wasn't, he helped, but he didn't really know what to do on his own, I guess. He was
more of like a child in a way.
Yeah, and I like how they they made his character, more developed in this game. It was
right.
And it's like stuck throughout the series too, which I really like.
And let's see here. And of course we get to play as Knuckles.
Of course, and glide in 3D, which was pretty awesome.
Gliding in 3D, and well, unlike Sonic and Tails, instead of going from checkpoint A to checkpoint B, it's more like finding pieces of emeralds.
Which in SA1 I didn't really mind, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't mind it either, because with the radar, it would pick up all three, where in SA2 it would only pick up like whatever the first one.
Yeah, and you can be right next to one of the emeralds, but it won't start beeping or tell you where it is unless that's the one that you're supposed to get at the time.
Exactly. Where, in SA1, I could go through all of Knuckles' levels pretty fast because it helps knowing that all three will beep. Like the other day I was playing Sonic Adventure, and I got through most of Knuckles' levels in less than 2 minutes because of that.
Yeah, it's... I don't know why they changed it, just to extend gameplay time or whatever, but... I don't know, the radar they used for SA1 was a lot better.
But,
much better.
Of course, that's mostly Knuckles there. About the whole treasure hunting deal.
Yeah.
And of course, were you about to say something?
I think it's the first game where Knuckles could dig too.
Oh yeah, dig. I forgot about that. And then I guess we finally get Amy as a playable character.
Yeah.
Well, not counting past games like Sonic
yeah.
are, but like actual,
Yeah. Basically, she's just a really, I would say, like a really slow version of Sonic.
Yeah, like
with a hammer.
And plus, like her levels were meant to be easier than everyone else's. I mean,
are they?
I'm not judging anything by the sex or anything like that,
Are they though?
I'm just saying.
I remember having a really hard time with them on them as a kid for some reason.
Well, yeah. I just found, Amy just to be slow. I mean, yeah, her hammer works as a good weapon in its ways. And it does get kind of old because you're trying to do certain puzzles, and then you got Zero, lonking onto you while you're trying to get through a door or something like that, and it gets really aggravating because he won't go away.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, Amy's levels in that game, there was only like 3?
Really?
3 or 4. It wasn't that long.
Wow.
But and I think Zero was the only boss she had.
Yeah, it was. I do remember that. And then?
But of course, skipping from Amy, we get two brand new characters in the Sonic franchise, but one only makes it for just that game. The other one, he continues for a little while, but I believe Sega and Sonic team got rid of him. But I guess the next one would be Big the Cat.
I actually really like Big the Cat. Not his levels.
Yeah, I like Big the Cat.
I like him as a character. His levels are really tedious, I know. But just as the character, I don't know. I freaking love him.
I do like the song that plays at the end for him. Their theme song.
Stoner-tastic.
Hey, big guy. Hey, little guy.
What does it mean?
But,
I don't know.
But of course, I think Big was made because of how his levels were. You know, there was no rings to really get. Well, you know, fish counted as whatever. But, you know, I think Big was there to advertise, at the time, Sega Bass Fishing for the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
Because if you can tell,
it's very similar.
You know, if you look at both screens, Big Fishing or the actual Sega Bass Fishing, you'll see a similarity.
Definitely.
Like
but anyways, that crazy music that'll play when you get a fish.
Oh, right. You know, but Big's goal was to really just get Froggy. And of course, yeah, Froggy. But I think Froggy really wanted to run away that night. That was the whole plan before he got attacked, you could say.
Oh, gosh.
But, and then I guess that brings us to
a more
Gamma!
More useful character, I guess.
Let's see here. Gamma. Gamma was more... He was a shoot-'em-up kind of deal, you know, go around.
Which was new.
It was brand new, you know. I enjoyed Gamma. Gamma had a really good story, and I would almost want to tear up at the very end of Gamma's story.
I know, it's so sad.
It is. I'm like, oh, because he gets like, that's like one of Eggman's best creations. I've always thought.
Yeah, I think so too. I like Gamma a lot more than Omega.
Like Gamma, you know, he learns, he's programmed to, you know, to listen to what Eggman tells him to do. But after, you know, with the encounter of Amy, not many robots, I guess you could say, he ends up, you know, getting feelings and stuff.
Yeah, Gamma's a robot, by the way.
But, you know, he ends up, Kyle, keep on talking.
What the hell? Okay. Well.
Hello?
Anyways. Oh, he's on the phone. Anyways. But yeah, Gamma, basically, he's a lot more involved than Big the Cat. I mean, Big the Cat was just kind of there to, I guess, for the advertisement purposes. But, you know, Gamma, he contributed a lot, like, in his own way. He did things on the side. I guess you could say that about most of the other characters, but he was very to the side, but he was also very involved in the sense that, you know, that he actually does make friends with everybody, in a sense. And that's why you get a heart from him at the end, you know, because that's what makes his ending so sad.
Right. But anyways, I guess the one thing that really clarifies Sonic Adventure, we could say a little bit about the actual villain for this.
Chaos!
Yeah, Chaos! Who, you know, we find out he wasn't really a bad guy, he was more of a protector, like Knuckles is with the Emerald. But was he the protector of the Chows?
Protector of the Chows. Yeah, he was more the guardian of the Chows, really.
And, but you know, with, you know, you would end up, as with each character, you would end up going, you know, back into the past.
Yeah.
And you would learn different things, and you discovered, like, Knuckles' old ancestors, you know, they wanted the power of the Master Emerald to defeat their enemies, but, you know, to call, you know, no, you can't do that. And, of course, that pisses off Chaos, knowing that also his children, I guess you would call it, are getting hurt.
Yeah. And I think Tikal is actually the guardian of the Master Emerald at that point. Granted, she wasn't a very good one, but...
No. But, of course, and then, you know, 100 years later, I just estimated around, you know, Eggman finally finds Chaos, you know, on Angel Island. Because he was, you know, sealed in the Master Emerald.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then Eggman, you know, he finds out if he gets hold of the Chaos Emeralds, he could, you know, get a hold of this powerful beast. Because he wants, you know, of course, going back to the whole Empire kind of deal, destroy Station Square, build Eggman Land, that kind of shit.
It's always been.
But, of course, you would get to eventually after, you know, when you think you defeated Chaos, and then he eventually, you know, in the last story, Supersonic story, you end up getting it, where he becomes like the liquid version of like Godzilla and stuff like that. And keep on talking, Kyle.
Which looks amazing in CGI, by the way. But when you actually see the final boss, it's a huge downgrade in graphics, and he's like, "Oh, I'm fighting that thing." Because you look in the CGI, like the opening cutscene, you're like, "Oh my god, this boss is gonna be so awesome when I get to it." But then it's still cool, but you know, he looks a bit derpy. And now David is back.
I know I need to stop, you know, ignoring those people. But yeah, and so Sonic uses the negative power of the Chaos Emeralds or whatever to become Super Sonic.
So the negative power.
Oh shit, he uses the positive because Chaos uses the negative. My bad.
Our hearts combine to form awesome power.
But of course, and then, you know, defeats the evil, I guess you would call it, in Chaos. And then Tikal shows up, and then Tikal, the Chaos, you know, fly away in the magical past.
Wonderland.
Something, I don't know. But, you know, all in all, everything becomes okay, even though the city was fucking destroyed.
City's been fucking... Anyways.
But anyways, let's move on, you know, that was Sonic Adventure.
Sonic...
You got any other thoughts or about SA1, Kyle?
SA1? To me, SA1's... It's my favorite 3D Sonic game. I don't know about you, but that's probably my favorite. Colors and Generations are pretty close up there. I mean, granted, Generations doesn't have anything really new in it, but in terms of how it plays, in terms of, you know, I think SA1 has the best story, I guess.
Right.
I mean, Sonic Colors, it unfolds a lot more professionally, I guess, like more natural. But SA1, I don't know, there's just a lot more to it. I like how you know, travel back in time, and you know, you're constantly wondering what that's all about until, you know, you finally find it all out in the end, and how the stories, they will intertwine with each other, and you'll gain a better understanding as you see through this the perspectives of the other characters. So, yeah, SA1, it's glorious.
Okay, well, I guess this now brings us to Sonic Adventure's sequel, Sonic Adventure 2.
That shit was okay.
Well, yeah, you know, of course, that was my first 3D Sonic game, because, you know, that goes back, didn't know what a Dreamcast was, because I owned Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, you know, but, you know, it didn't really hold up to the adventure like the first one did.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, all in all, I thought the story, especially when you got to the end, you know, it was pretty creative. And...
Oh yeah, definitely. I thought the last part of the story was really good. I really liked the final feats of the game, I guess.
Right. And of course, like, you still had, like in Sonic Adventure, you still had a lot of characters to play as, but they were broken up into like two groups, you know, Hero and dark.
Yeah, basically how it worked was there was a hero story and a dark story. Like as you go through these certain stories, you'll start out as one character, and then you'll alternate to a different character for a different level. So you say you're playing as Sonic on one level, and then the next level you're going to be playing as Tails or Knuckles.
Right.
And it basically just keeps going until it's the end of the story.
And the thing was, this was the game that I guess you would call it gave us Sonic's first recaller, which was Shadow the Hedgehog.
Indeed, which in this game he was the best character ever. Like he was awesome.
His story was like really deep.
He was, even though he only had 4 levels, like everybody just loved him, and for some reason they still love him, even though he doesn't really play much of a part in the series anymore.
Right. And I guess that's the reasons why they end up bringing him back, and eventually getting his own game. Bringing back
meaning that at the end of SA2, Shadow was supposed to die, which is they see him falling down to the planet, assuming that he's dead, but
because he would burn up in the Earth's atmosphere.
Exactly, but of course everybody loved him so much, so they had to bring him back.
And it took 2 games to explain everything,
basically.
But anyways, so the thing was with Sonic Adventure 2, of course, everyone had like their counterparts. Sonic and Shadow were the racing kind of deal. This time, at some point between SA1 and SA2, I guess Tails thought it was a good idea to turn his plane into like a leg crawling, shooting him up robot thing.
A freak.
But yeah, Tails and Eggman are both shoot 'em ups, kind of like Gamma, and of course Knuckles is treasure hunting, and this also brought in another new character, which was Rouge the Bat. Sexual content, kiddies, but
the biggest freak of nature ever.
Bat with boobs, who drives a car that looks like a peanut.
Oh no! So yeah, she's basically Knuckles and Rouge share the treasure hunting levels, which, as we said earlier, the radar is pretty broken in that game. So, out of all of them, treasure huntings are my least favorite levels.
Yeah, especially for both of their last levels as Knuckles and Rouge.
Both of their last.
Mad Space and
yeah,
the other one that was in space.
Yeah, and to be honest, I would have preferred if Knuckles and Rouge's levels, they were more puzzle based, like on the last story, like Cannon's Core, how they had you just find switches and they had to drain the liquid or whatever. I would have preferred that, because that was more enjoyable than just doing the same thing over and over again.
Yeah, and it was just their levels, especially their last levels, were so big, more open than Knuckles' SA1 levels.
Meteor Herd.
Oh my god.
Jesus Christ.
Fucking Meteor Herd. Meteor Herd was
it's enormous. It is ridiculous to find 3 small.
Yeah, the width and latitude of that whole place. Oh my god. But anyways, get off that topic. What did you think of the music in Sonic Adventure 2?
There's a lot of really memorable tracks. City Escape.
Yeah, I found City Escape and both Metal Harbor and Green Forest. The beat to those songs were really good.
Yeah, those are probably the ones that stand out the most. But for me, I don't know about you, but for me, a lot of the tracks, they really just blend together. They're kind of a lot of the same, really. Right. It's all just kind of rock, guitar. Cause this was Was this the first game that Gene Sononi was sound director in, or was that a different one?
You kiddies better look that up for us.
Well, anyways, yeah, Gene Sononi was sound director in this game, and you can obviously tell because his guitars up the hizzle whizzle.
I know, everyone had their own theme.
Yeah.
For But
basically, the weakest tracks for me were the shoot 'em up levels.
all right, like, what was Eggman's? More electrical, technical. You know, it fit him, but
Tails and Eggman they sounded a lot of the same to me. Like Rouge was all jazzy,
more passionate. Ready when I would hear. Okay, I would start playing Drive Lagoon, right?
Yeah.
The music I'm starting to hear, I feel like I'm about to watch a porno.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is this?
But yeah, Rouge's like music is generally really chill jazz, I guess, and Knuckles for some reason has rap, I guess.
Well, yeah, like, you know,
Hard in the stereotype. But Sonic and Shadow, they're really upbeat, you know, kind of rock. I guess Sonic has more ska than rock, I guess.
Yeah, like Sonic's like more, you know, good, ongoing, you know, more hip, you know, happy in a way, where Shadows was more down,
more metal sounding,
deep, yeah.
So it fit in that regard.
But let's see. I guess we'll talk about what story now.
Story. The story was. The thing was.
Sonic did a bad thing.
Yeah, Sonic did a bad thing. Basically, what happened at the beginning is that everybody thinks that Shadow's Sonic, and Shadow's doing all these bad things because he's a bad guy. And so Sonic's getting blamed for this for some reason, even though that Sonic looks the completely opposite of Shadow. He's black, his spikes are up, and he looks menacing, and Sonic doesn't. But anyway, Sonic gets blamed, and he's running from the police the entire game. Well, at least half of the game. Did they ever like realize that it wasn't Sonic that was doing that?
No.
No?
You gotta remember.
It's just...
The gun force wasn't the greatest.
No, definitely not.
SWAT team, I guess you would put it.
But yeah, basically, the rest of the story is pretty basic. The dark side's doing their thing, the hero side's doing their hero thing. And,
well, you know, that was also something. Wasn't Sonic Adventure 2 the first time you could play as Eggman?
Yes, and it was the first time you could actually be the villain, I guess. The villain team, which was pretty cool, I guess.
But yeah, but you know, with Shadow, you know, he's older than you think he is.
Yeah.
He would, I guess technically he's 50 years old.
He's an old man.
But of course he was sent down to Earth, and of course Eggman awakened him on Prison Island, and Shadow made a promise to someone, which you find out is Maria, and that how at first it was the promise he was going to take revenge on all the humans down there.
Because, that's because, Maria was Shadow's only friend, and she was killed when the military, I guess, they... Why did they shut down Gerald's research? Just illegal?
I guess it was because it was more... I guess it could have been more threatening to the Earth than helping it.
Yeah, I guess it was like they were afraid of power, that he might use it in a bad sense, so... Which he tried to do.
They might have been afraid he might have gone nuts or something.
Yeah.
But
which he did at the end.
Yeah. Knowing to make a freaking cannon in a freaking meteor. But yeah, you learn like later, you know, after we go into space and things like that, and you'll find out about how was Shadow just the prototype of the ultimate weapon?
No, Shadow is the ultimate weapon.
Okay, Shadow is the ultimate. So that makes
the Bio-Lizard,
the bad guy at the end, or the bad creature at the end, I guess you would call it,
the Bio-Lizard.
The prototype.
The Bio-Lizard?
Yeah, fuck you, Bio. I had so many times to beat you when I was 10.
Oh, I'm sorry. I see. I'm probably one of the very few people that likes that boss. I don't know. I just love I love the music and the atmosphere. It's just really creepy, and it just
right.
works.
I like the music too, and I've managed after so long. Because in the past it took me like 50 times to get through the Biolizard. Now it might take like 2 or 3 times. But like he's not that bad. It's when first you just run until he like runs out of breath. Grind up his life support tube, I guess you'd call it, and then hit his life support. Because I remember I told my grandma that I killed a dinosaur on life support. And then of course, like most bosses, they'll use more powerful attacks like my shadow ball attack, blah blah, dodge these. Yeah. And you would have to either like jump up in the air or like do a barrel roll, and you keep on doing that, and then he'll like summon these pink bubble things, and that's when it gets a little hard for me. But the hard part is for when you're going to hit him for the last time, when gravity like takes effect or whatever, and you're floating up there and you're trying to position your person to freaking get to it, but if you get hit, then it's all over pretty much.
Yeah, basically when you're in the air, there's pink bubbles everywhere, and you have to just navigate your way through them and find a path so that you can hit his weak spot. But it can be really hard to do that sometimes.
And I found out for the 3DS version of Generations, when Sonic fights the Biolizard, when it gets to that part, the whole pathway, it is a pathway. They actually make a pathway for Sonic.
Yeah, I think it's
I was like, I'm calling bullshit on that.
I think they turn it into a 2D section, actually.
But, anyways, you finally you defeat the Biolizard. Everyone gets where the copy of the Shrine of the Master Emerald's at. Just to find out that the Biolizard's not really dead, and he attached his ass to the Eclipse cannon, and the arc and all that heading straight to Earth because of him. And now we find out Sonic's not the only supersonic hedgehog man. Shadow becomes Super
Saiyan.
Super Saiyan. But anyways, enough joking. Sonic and Shadow, they become super, and you have this ultimate showdown in space. And then Live and Learn, plays, and that's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's one of the most famous tracks in the franchise.
Exactly, and so now pretty much the goal is to destroy the giant zits that appear on the Biolizard. And after it's done, then you win. And I find the final hazard to be better than the Biolizard.
Yeah, and you win. The city isn't fucking destroyed. All is well.
And then
Shadows apparently doesn't die. Which, I mean, I think Shadow would have been remembered a lot better if he just would have stayed dead. I mean, imagine how more excited people would have been when you saw Shadow in Generations.
Right. That's how I would have felt.
But, alas.
And of course, I guess that's now the end of the Adventure series. One day there will be a Sonic Adventure 3. One day.
One day. But for now, we shall continue to Sonic Heroes.
Ugh!
Which, I guess you could say that this is the start of the downfall of the franchise.
Yeah. In a way, Sonic Heroes is yet still a sequel to Sonic Adventure 2.
Yeah, but it's basically not an adventure game. Sorry, it's just not.
So yeah, it's mostly it's kind of planned out, like how the old Sonic games are. You would have Act 1, Act 2, and then whatever.
Which I liked. I like how they brought, it was a much more Sonic-y feel than the adventure games, I think.
Right, but with this time, everyone was broken up into teams, and you would have like Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles. And of course, each person had their ability. You had speed, flight, and strength.
And basically, you have all these. You're basically playing as all these characters at the same time. You press the Y and X buttons to switch your character depending on what you need to do. Like there's some portions where you might need to get to a surface that you couldn't reach with Sonic or Knuckles, so you use Tails to fly up there. And maybe there's like a structure that you can't break through with anybody else, so you use Knuckles.
Right.
And I think, yeah, there's how many? Would you consider Cream a new character for this game? Because I know Cream was in Sonic Advance, but this was the first canon game that she was in.
Well, I think so. Because, you know, if you played Sonic Adventure DX, she would appear just flying around.
Yeah.
But, you know, she wasn't a playable character.
Yeah, she didn't.
She was just there.
Yeah, she didn't actually add anything to the story. It was just like cameo appearance.
I think, not counting any of the handheld games, going canon by story, I think for Heroes, Cream the Rabbit would be the first time as a playable character.
Yeah. And also, a big thing from this game was they brought the Chaotix back. Or at least some of them.
They got at least Vector back, and that's all that matters.
They got the Crocodile back. But they also have Charmy and Espio. Which was pretty cool. I thought that was a pretty cool thing they added. Even though their thing is just kind of mission based, or their story rather, It doesn't really, you know.
See, the thing was, you played as 4 teams, but if you really think about it, it was the same game 4 times over to get to the last story.
Yeah, basically, I think, Sonic, or not Sonic, the heroes. Okay, I'm getting the team Sonic.
Was it Team Sonic?
Yeah, Team Sonic. Team Sonic and Team Dark, they have the exact same levels. Although I think Team Dark may be just a little bit harder. And
yeah, I think Sonic was more normal. Dark was harder mode.
Team Rose
was more easy, where Chaotix was more mission based.
Yeah, and Team Rose and Team Chaotix share the same levels. While there are minor differences, there aren't really enough differences to make them their own, really. Which is pretty much why you're playing the entire game 4 times to get to the final boss.
Right, and of course, you know, everyone kind of had a different, you know, story. More for Sonic, it was more like, oh, we're going to stop Eggman, blah, blah, blah. Like usual. For Shadow, of course, you discover, oh, shit, Shadow's back. And mostly for more for Shadow and Omega, it was more of revenge.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what Rouge really wanted. I think it was treasure.
Yeah, it was.
But I think it was more the idea where she was just helping them. Because they both... Well, Omega wanted to freaking murder fucking Eggman. And Shadow just wanted to know the truth.
Yeah.
Which he didn't get in that game.
And
but you'll lead to later on. And, let's see, Team Rose... It was more of finding someone. Where Sonic, Froggy... Missing again, I see, Big. I'm telling you, Froggy is just trying to escape.
Exactly.
He's not really missing.
And then Cream wants to find Chocolate Chow, who never appeared again.
Right. But, and of course, with the thing with Team Chaotix, it was more of a cry for, you know, it
was money.
Money, yeah. They wanted money. They were, I guess what you would call them, I know in Sonic X, they had like an agent base or whatever. They would, you know, solve a mystery, and then they would get paid. And in a way, they were, you know, I guess you could somewhat. It was still a mission, but it was a case. Yeah, that's what the word is. Because they, you know, you find out that later the person that sent that walkie-talkie was Eggman.
For some reason. I don't even know.
But there was a reason because of that. And that leads into after you get all the freaking Chaos Emeralds and you go through the game.
Yeah.
You find out that someone actually wants to take revenge on a certain somebody.
Which was...
That's how I put it.
We're gonna reveal who that is?
Yes, I will. I will reveal who that is.
Oh.
And that is your mama. I mean, Metal Sonic.
My mama is Metal Sonic.
But Metal Sonic kind of got an upgrade since last time.
Mm-hmm. It's been how many years?
Well, I guess between, CD and...
Say that's at least.
Sonic Heroes? But
Maybe.
Heroes came out in, 2003?
Yeah. Maybe 8. I don't know.
So
That doesn't matter. He's back, and
he's back,
he's
and
upgraded.
then he becomes bigger than ever, and then you get the boss, Metal Madness.
Which is basically a giant blue robotic hedgehog dinosaur thing.
Right. It's kind of like what would happen if Metal Sonic fused with the Bio Lizard in a way.
Yeah, I see that. I guess I think he was a pretty cool boss. Yeah, I mean, it fit the game, obviously.
Right, I didn't mind, that was probably the most enjoyable part of the game was fighting him. Because it was actually something new.
And it was actually, that's probably the only part of the game that had a story.
But I think, I know it was more hero-based, but what did you think about Tails and Knuckles joining with Sonic when he became Super to fight Metal Madness?
I thought I was a little disappointed that it wasn't their super forms, but at the same time, Tails and Knuckles' super forms aren't really that awesome. So,
right. See, the thing was for me, I know because it was a team game. I think I would still prefer it if it was just Sonic.
just Team Sonic or Sonic?
Just Sonic.
Yeah, I can see that, but I mean, the whole game is based around teams, so they kind of have.
It was like a teamwork effort, and don't worry, guys, I can put you in these orb things, and you can fly with me.
Yeah, they basically Sonic and Tails. Instead of going super, they just have orb things to go around them. Super orb things.
And of course, at the end, Metal Sonic gets defeated, but he doesn't get destroyed, right? He the one thing I think he loses more is his pride.
Metal Sonic is never destroyed.
Right, and then according to that, that's the last time so far we've really heard of Metal Sonic since then, right?
Well, I guess technically, since Generations,
Well,
you get
technically, because with Generations, that was more of a past thing. The same goes with Shadow.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I guess so. That's basically it. I mean, canonly.
Right.
So, Sonic Heroes, I guess we forgot to mention that it's a very buggy game, which really makes a lot of people not like it, and this is why a lot of people say it's the start of the downfall. It's because it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous how buggy it is.
Yeah, it definitely shows you what I'm made of.
It's playable. Oh, I see what you did there. It's playable. I mean, you can get frustrated, but it's still playable. But I would definitely choose one of the adventure games over Heroes.
Right. To be honest, I've only played through Heroes once, from everything full, getting the Chaos Emeralds, and then fighting Metal Sonic at the end.
Yeah, me too. I can't bother to play through the whole game 4 times. The most I usually do when I play that game is just play through Sonic's story.
If I choose to do it again, it would have to be a thing like where I'd have to play through Team Sonic one day, and then Team Dark the next, and then so on and so forth.
Yeah, that's how I did it originally too. But I guess I wouldn't say that the next game is better, but it's basically the same arc, I guess, which is Shadow the Hedgehog game.
Right, and the year was 2005, and I believe Shadow the Hedgehog was the one Sonic game that was more American-based, wasn't it?
It was all American writers. I don't know. They switched the voice cast for that one, which was
because it's okay, kids. The game's rated T for a reason.
It's not rated T, it's rated E10. But anyways, but yeah, this is probably the first Sonic game actually like had swearing in it. I guess it was very adult, really dark, and to me just wasn't Sonic. But it had.
Of course, it wasn't Sonic. It was Shadow.
Oh, you know, I guess you got a point there because Luigi's Mansion, it's nothing like a Mario game.
Right. And see, with Shadow,
unlike Luigi's Mansion, people dislike Shadow.
Well, yeah, I really enjoy Luigi's Mansion. Shadow. I've only gone that yet. That's another game I've only played through once to get the final ending.
Me too. Although it's not as bad as Heroes, where you're playing through the same game 4 times.
Right. Like, see, with Shadow, it's you could choose your path. Eventually, you're gonna have to choose every path if you want the final.
So it basically shared the same thing about like the SA2 did. Like, oh, you can choose either Hero or Dark.
But
although in this game you have normal mode too. So.
Right, and of course with Shadow, at this point he still doesn't know who he is, and see choosing what pathways you choose determines like I am a complete asshole to everyone. I'm going to be a good guy. I am,
yep.
And the whole I am thing even becomes a song.
And how the levels work is you have a hero, I guess, like a good guy, and then you have a bad guy. You can either choose to do the good guy's mission or the bad guy's mission. Depending on which one you do, you'll go to a different level on the select screen. And I guess the select screen, it'll, I think it labels like what's dark and what's good. Like, so if you go this direction, you'll go to the good side, I guess. Like, do this mission, you'll go up. You do this mission, you'll go down. And that's basically you forge a pathway as you go along.
As we get out my rocket launcher and shoot aliens.
Oh yeah, this is the first game where the character has guns besides, Gamma and stuff. This is where, I don't know.
Yeah, this is very shoot 'em up.
Yeah, even...
Because there's guns in every fucking level.
I know, there's also vehicles.
Yeah, vehicles,
Shadow
motorcycle, cars, robot leg things.
We have aliens, dark aliens that are destroying the planet. It's just a big clusterfuck of ideas. Weird fanboy ideas. But,
Right.
I think overall Shadow controls a little bit better than Heroes. But, it's still meh.
And let's see here. I guess since going into the depths of the story, these aliens or whatever, they come down from space or whatever where they came from, and you find out our new villain, which is
Black Doom.
Yeah, very good. That's a really good voice.
Thank you.
And we discovered that, later on that apparently Shadow was, like, his DNA is mixed with the aliens.
Which was, I don't know, think what you will of it. I don't really consider it canon, but whatever people want to take it as, it's fine by me. I don't really care about Shadow anymore anyway, so...
But, I still can't get over the whole fact of determining the story. Like, does Shadow really... I guess it's non-canon, but does Shadow really kill Eggman?
Well, that's not really I guess not, because no matter what, or, how many... I don't even know. There's only one true story, in my opinion, and that's, the final part.
Right.
Which, everybody lives and Shadow saves the day.
I think this is how Shadow the Hedgehog, I think how it is, the main thing Shadow was getting was the Chaos Emeralds or whatever.
Yeah.
Which eventually would lead to the last story.
I think how Shadow is like, it's mainly a what-if game up until the final part, because nothing that you actually do affects the final boss or whatever, you know.
Right, because
no matter what you do, you're always gonna get the same ending, like the same final ending, mind you, not like the same like story ending, but. So I mean, I think the final part of the game is the only part that's really legit. Everything else is just kind of like a what if situation, like what if Shadow did kill Eggman, and what if, you know, he decided to save the world. I guess it was just like fanboy kind of.
Right, I agree. I think it's more of a fanboy game. But towards the end, you know, you end up fighting him, and I believe it's like 8 minutes into the battle when Eggman tells you who you really are and what really happened at the end of SA2, and
and that's really not explained very well, since you have to like take 8 minutes on the boss fight. I've never heard that line, but I know it's there because I've heard many people talk about it. But
it's there.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that, but I've never heard it myself because I've only played the final boss of Shadow like maybe 3 times. But
one of my robots caught you.
One of my robots caught you when they put you in my lab.
So stupid.
It's whatever. They have to make an excuse to bring the character back, but.
Right.
Overall, Shadow. There's people that like it, people that hate it. I just don't really. I don't really care about it. Honestly,
right. It's not.
It's just kind of there for me. It's just.
Yeah, it's not. That's the same for me.
Although I was really excited when I first heard about that game. I was like flipping shit. I was like, "Oh my god, a big game for Shadow!"
I don't really see there being a Shadow the Hedgehog 2.
No, I never see one since.
I think that was something they tried, and you know, it kind of backfired.
Well, how it was originally supposed to be was we were supposed to get Sonic Adventure 3 about 3 times, because Sonic Heroes was actually called Sonic Adventure 3 at one point, and then they changed it to Sonic Heroes, and then Shadow was originally supposed to be Sonic Adventure 3, like in brackets, Shadows, I don't know, Shadows something or other. And then we'll get to the next game.
Right. Well, at this point, this finally ends, I guess you would call it the Dreamcast, GameCube, PS2, Xbox era of Sonic. I mean, yeah, there were games like, I don't know, but
there weren't any.
But I guess now you lead more of today's systems. Like at this point, going with Sega, you know, the Dreamcast was their last system, and they decided not to do things with consoles anymore. So that you know, they were like, okay, we can't do the whole console thing, so but we'll still make our games for other platforms, which, you know, ends up getting us with Wii, the PlayStation 3, and the Xbox 360.
Mm-hmm.
And so Sonic, you know, still continues or whatever. And
I guess you could say that the... Oh, God.
Well, let's just say the beginning of the modern era wasn't the best start off.
I think it was probably the worst. What they released, this was also for the 15th anniversary game for the Xbox 360 and PS3, which was Sonic the Hedgehog, or as most people call it, Sonic 06.
Because, you know, released in 2006.
And there was already a Sonic the Hedgehog, which was the first game. But this game was, I guess, a reimagining of the franchise. It was supposed to be kind of, not really a reboot, but it was...
Like, dear God, I wouldn't want to imagine what goes on in, you know, that game.
Oh, God, but Sonic 06 is famous for its terribleness. It is an absolutely atrocious game, and I don't even know.
I just don't know either. I find it to be the most buggiest game out of the whole franchise, really.
It probably is, and it's just very, very unfinished. I feel like there was a lot more they could have done with it, but it was. I think they just went through multiple ideas, and none of them really worked, and then they had to stick with the one that they were already going with.
Like, you kind of, at first, you might feel like you're getting, like, a Sonic Adventure vibe from it because of how it's, set up, because you were able to play as 3 characters, and they brought, you still had your hub worlds.
Which was a big thing that they brought back, but it controls like Ash.
It does, and let's go ahead and discuss the characters we get. Of course, no Sonic game without Sonic.
We got a new Sonic game, but we can't play Sonic though.
Play Shadow the Hedgehog if you want to do that. But anyways, you got Sonic, and you got Shadow. That's not too bad. But let's throw in another person who kind of makes me want to tear my hair out.
Well, let's see. Let's take Sonic. Let's give him eyeliner. Let's remove all of his spikes on the back of his head except for 2. Let's give him gay boots. We'll give him telekinetic powers, and we'll stick a marijuana leaf on his head. And we'll call him Silver.
Silver the Hedgehog.
Silver the Hedgehog. Who is from the future.
The whole going to find the Iblis Twigger.
Yeah, basically.
No matter what the cost, I will save the future.
Basically, Silver's story is well, there's also another character in the game we forgot to mention, Mephiles. I guess that's the main villain of this game, Mephiles and Eggman.
Right. Oh, and Eggman.
Oh, you got
the look his model for that game. Oh my god.
Yeah, they redesigned Eggman to make him look more.
Mr. Golden Nipples are right there.
They took all of his fat, half of his fat from his upper body and put it down to his legs.
Right. They really stretched him out for that, and because he looked more human.
He looks gross. He just looks gross.
Yeah, he looks gross. I prefer, the short egg model.
Yeah, he looks like just a big glob of muscle and fat. But, anyways, what I was talking about was, Silver's story. Mephiles, I guess it's kind of like Knuckles in a way, like Knuckles and Eggman in Sonic 3. But, Mephiles, tricks Silver into thinking that Sonic is the one who fucked up his future. Or that he's gonna bring, disaster to his time period. So basically, Silver's story consists of him going back in the past, trying to find Sonic so he can kill him so that his future can be saved. Which...
You can't win!
You can't win! And, he eventually finds out the truth, and then finds that Mephiles is the one that's going to do that. But, Silver... His gameplay, I guess let's just talk about the gameplay from Sonic, I guess.
Right.
Sonic, the gameplay is...
Sonic still dealt with speed, but there were certain levels where we introduced Mach speed sections, which were, oh my god, I'm hitting this and I'm dead.
Yeah. Basically, the main Sonic stages, they're like Sonic Adventure, except they're bad.
Really bad.
Yeah, they're just... It's like... Sonic 06 was like an imitation of what Sonic Adventure is, I guess. But the Mach Speed sections are... If you've played Sonic Unleashed, and we'll get to that, it's basically you're just going forward really, really fast, and with really bad controls. And basically, if you hit anything, or if you clip anything, you're just gonna lose rings. But if you smash into anything, you're just dead.
Yeah, it's over. Pretty much, you want to press. For me, try to press A 5 seconds before you're going to end up having to jump over something or something like that.
Yeah, and
because you can't. It's hard to control.
It is very hard to control, much like the entire game.
And you know how many times I've seen a game over screen because of those things.
I know. And Shadow's gameplay is just like it was in his own game. Well, not just like, because it's worse.
Like, there's no guns, but he fights.
In a sense, there are, because there's guns on the vehicles.
Oh yeah, there is guns.
There's like,
but
he doesn't. There's no handguns.
Right, but you know, I think out of everyone's, I can control Shadow better than Sonic or Silver.
Yeah, I say Shadow has the best story.
Yeah, Shadow's story, it's like his story is very different compared to Sonic and Silver's.
It's the most involved, really, in it. Like he's the most really involved in the entire game, because Sonic is just rescuing.
Like at this point with Shadow, like, you know, he knows who he is, but he now works with Gun or whatever, so,
or GUN as they call it in this game.
So it's kind of ironic in a way, if you think about it.
Yeah, because they're the ones that were trying to, you know, kill him at first, and now they've just...
But now he's working with them. But he's like, Shadow is more of a government agent in a way.
Yeah, much like Rouge.
Yeah, much like Rouge.
But I don't know. Shadow's... His gameplay is still terrible. Everybody's gameplay is terrible, but Shadow's is better, I guess. It's still bad, still terrible, but it's less terrible.
Well, anyways, like what I was saying was, so we covered Sonic and Shadow. Silver, I find him to be really slow, really hard to use.
Because he was.
And the whole levitation thing wasn't very good either.
I will admit, I think the telekinesis aspect of his gameplay is actually really interesting, because I love like picking up like tons of shit and just shooting it all over the place. I think that is so fun to do.
Right, that was fun, like picking up like boxes and you know, things like that.
Other than that, it's just I didn't care for it. Other than that, that's probably the only good part of his gameplay. He's really slow. It's obnoxious.
He is. And let's see here. And where did this game take place, Kyle?
This game took place in a city called Soleana, which was based off of Venice, in wherever.
Right. And
a city of water.
Who was Sonic's girlfriend in this game?
I wouldn't say girlfriend, but
you know it.
Oh God. The human he's rescuing in this is Princess Elise.
Human girl.
It's Princess Elise, the Princess of Soleana.
Oh, fuck
which,
her.
For some reason, finds an attraction to a blue 4-foot hedgehog.
That's 15 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep on talking.
But, I don't really know why they chose this design choice. I mean, a lot of people joke about it being bestiality, and I agree that it is bestiality, because I don't know what the hell they were thinking, putting an animal. They've had this idea once before, because at the very beginning of the franchise, Sonic was actually supposed to have a girlfriend named Madonna, which was also a human. And, of course, that was a little too weird for the American public, so they scrapped that idea. But for some reason brought it back in 2006, and it was apparently okay. But, and now I'll let David talk. Talk, David.
But, what were you talking about?
I was talking about how, how Sonic, at the beginning of the franchise, they've had this idea before of putting a human and a hedgehog together in a relationship. How they had, Madonna for his girlfriend at the beginning. And how they
sounds gross.
How they scrapped that's for babies. But like apparently they scrapped the idea at the beginning because they thought it was too weird, but apparently 15 years later it's apparently less weird.
Right. Well, there. Did you mention about what's odd about Elise? What was the one thing she couldn't do?
Yeah. Basically, when Elise she was about 5 at the time, I think. Her father was working on this experiment, like the Solaris project, and one of the parts of the Solaris project was something called Iblis, which was like a spirit fire demon that went out of control. So in order to keep it under control, he put it inside of his little daughter.
I know, his own little girl.
His own little girl, when he was dying anyways. I don't know why her father didn't just put it inside of him, since he was dying, and the spirit would die along with him. But he decided to put it inside of his little daughter, and it's not very believable that, a 5-year-old girl, once she finds out that her father dies, because she can't cry. If she cries, then the spirit will be released.
All hell breaks loose.
Then all hell breaks loose, literally. Fire everywhere, destroys a place. But then, you think that she would cry once, finding out that her father dies. Of course, you don't see her, finding out that her father dies. But it's just not very believable, because that's just what a little girl would do when she would find that out. She's 5 years old. She can't hold up to that kind of responsibility.
Right.
But then later in the game, when Sonic dies, for the moment, she cries for some reason. A hedgehog who she's only known for, like, a week or so. Not even a week, maybe 3 days. It's kind of redonkulous.
Yeah, and, she cries. Iblis comes out. Mephiles is back there laughing.
And then Mephiles...
Pretty nice laugh, too.
Oh, yeah, Dan Green,
Yeah.
Everything.
And
then Mephiles and Solaris, they become Iblis once more, and they destroy the time-space continuum.
Right, and then everything feels like a bad acid trip.
Yeah. But it's kind of cool, though. Although the idea is cool of the last part of the game. But,
And, see, because you're going around as, everyone else looking for the Chaos Emeralds, while everything is like blank holes of doom are opening up around you, and if you get sucked in, it's bad.
Yeah, and I think that would have been really cool if they did that in Generations. Like, you would go through all the levels that you already went through. Like, you would go through, like, Green Hill Zone, but it would have, like, a really dark vibe to it. The sky would be all crazy or whatnot. And it'd have, like, a really dark remix of Green Hill Zone and Chemical Plant and so on.
Right.
But
I see what you're getting at.
We'll get to that.
But, of course, after, they find, like, the Chaos Emeralds, and, they have them back, and, then it happens. It happens. Tongue on tongue. What?
It was not that bad.
But, it
was pretty bad.
At least, gave Sonic CPR for the young viewers.
Oh, it's not that bad. It's just a kiss. No, it's pretty bad. Never mind.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Because, fan art was made after that.
Of course, so.
And, well, anyways, Sonic is back alive because, in a way, I still feel like they use ideas from Dragon Ball Z.
Whoa.
You bring the Chaos Emeralds, there are 7. You bring the Dragon Balls, there are 7. It seems like the Chaos Emeralds have powers. The Dragon Balls have powers. You can wish people back with the Dragon Balls. And apparently, the power of Elise and the Chaos Emeralds bring Sonic back to life.
Whatever. At least...
I hope I just mind-fucked you with 2 steroids.
At least not many people have really realized it yet. At least I don't think.
Exactly.
But,
There's a lot of similarities between Sonic the Hedgehog and Dragon Ball Z.
yeah, but it's a conversation for a different topic.
Another day.
But, yeah, overall, Sonic 06, terrible. Don't ever play it. I like... Some people say...
I feel like the game was more of a boss battle to me than the final boss itself.
Yeah.
I never got hit in the final boss.
I don't know if I did, because I've only played it once. No, actually, that's twice, actually, because I had to beat...
I played it twice, but I never get hurt.
Because my friend wanted me to beat it for him, because he was like, just fuck it. Just screw it. I can't take this game anymore. So, yeah.
Right.
A lot of people say that you should experience it before having an opinion on it. And, in my opinion, just don't play it. I mean,
right.
Obviously don't hate on the game because you haven't played it. Because, like, I didn't hate on the game until I played 06. Like, I knew people said it was bad, but I didn't have a reason to say that, other than I've seen the story. But, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, with the whole opinion thing, if there are people out there, if you play it and you find out, you tend to like it, then that's okay. More power to you. But it just, if you like playing games where you glitch through buildings and the whole game, and that's cool too.
It depends on your preferences, but just if you're looking to get into Sonic, don't ever let this be your first Sonic game ever.
Yeah.
Start with
never let this be your first Sonic game. You'll regret it.
Yeah. Start with the classics, definitely. If you're ever looking to get into it, never just don't. I don't even recommend playing it at all. But if you really want to, go for it. But anyways,
right. Let's move into a more brighter, game.
Alright, so 2 years after that was released, we got, I guess, this is when Sega really, they realized what was happening. They're like, we need to bring this franchise back. And so, about, 2 years later, or they spent 3 years working on this game, I guess. 3 years working on the lighting engine, which was marvelous. And this all brought us Sonic Unleashed.
Woohoo!
Which was...
Boost to win, baby!
Oh, it was such a breath of fresh air. Yes, it is like a boost to win game, but at least it's fun. At least it's fun.
It's fun, but it also has its darker times.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's still problems. There's still problems in it, but
see, I guess that we.
It's a massive improvement over 06.
Right. I would rather play Unleashed than 06. I would rather play a lot of games than 06. But let's see, with Sonic Unleashed, do you want to explain the story on this one?
Sure. The story for Unleashed is I guess it doesn't explain why, but Eggman's up in space doing his Eggman thing, and then Sonic's went up to stop him, and basically Eggman eventually captures Sonic, and he takes the Chaos Emerald from him and drains its energy, just like in SA1, and he uses the power of the emeralds to make another... Wow, I just realized it's like 2 adventure plots in one, because Eggman's like laser thing kind of looks like the Eclipse Cannon from SA1 or SA2, and then the emeralds are drained like in SA1. But anyways, he breaks the planet into 7 continents. Like, I mean, it's already in 7 continents.
Really?
Well, I mean, he breaks the planet apart, and turns Sonic into a werewolf, Twilight Princess thing, and
yeah.
And sends Sonic down, and then everything looks like it's going to shit now. But so then Sonic then learns that there's a temple on each of these. What would you call it? Just like platforms of land? I mean, they call them continents in the game, so I just he has to go out to all these 7 continents, and there's a temple on each of these continents, and he has to, restore the Chaos Emeralds into these continents, and then the power of the emeralds brings the pieces of the planet back into place.
Right.
And there's one thing I forgot to mention, that when he breaks apart the planet, it releases, the main force that he was looking for, which was the entity called Dark Gaia, which another monster that Eggman's using that will eventually, fuck him over in the end. Which I like Unleashed because it's a pretty simple plot, over the past games, the 2 past games that we had, 06, but there's a lot packed in there. Just like I was saying about Sonic 3 and Knuckles, it's simple, but there's a lot of meaning and heart put into it.
Right, and let's see here. With, let's see how the gameplay works. It's mostly broken up into pretty much 2 different ways. And you got your daytime, which you're Sonic, and of course, and you're going to race, or not race, but
Well, technically you're Sonic through the entire game, but you're normal.
You are,
normal
but
Sonic.
you're like Sonic though.
Yeah, normal Sonic.
Your speed, going back, get from checkpoint A to checkpoint B. Those are the day stages are usually Act 1. Act 2 would be taking place at nighttime, and that's when, of course, nighttime is when Sonic would transform and become the Werehog. And see, the thing is, I played Sonic Unleashed before I played God of War, and I heard a lot of people saying that playing as a Werehog is similar to like playing as Kratos in God of War. And I eventually did get to playing the God of War games, and I discovered a lot of people were correct. How the God of War and the Werehog battle plays out, they're pretty close.
And a lot of people complain about the Werehog, it being slow. I don't really find it slow. I mean, obviously it's slower than the daytime Sonic, but it's not like, it's not painfully slow. Like, there's a lot.
But
I think,
it's pretty much Sonic on roids.
Yeah, I think the Werehog is faster than Mario. So I don't know why everybody's complaining.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, Sonic Werehog, he has stretchy arms for some reason. I guess being a Werehog does that to you. So you use these stretchy arms for pretty cool combos and stuff, and the Werehog is very fight based. Obviously, it being compared to God of War and whatnot. The levels can be boring a lot of the time. You're probably not going to want to play a level twice over and again, unlike the daytime stages, because I don't know about you, but with me, I'll play a daytime stage like 3 times in a row, but I just can't do that with the Werehog stages.
Right. Yeah, like, that's how I am when I go back to play just Unleashed, just the gameplay, not the story, but I just do it just for the daytime stages. I don't really play the night stages more than once. But, of course, you continue on, you go through, like, all these different areas, and...
Oh, yeah, the main gimmick of, Sonic Unleashed is that you're going to all these places which are based around certain countries. So the first level you go to is based around Greece, the city of Mykonos, which is called Apatos in this game, or Atopos, I don't know, whichever one. And then you go to, I think you go to Spagonia after.
I think that, or what's the Africa place?
Yeah, you go to, that's Missouri. I think, yeah, Mazuri. Not Missouri, Mazuri. Spagonia is based around Italy. There's... Oh, it's so hard to think of these names. Empire City, which is based around New York, or America.
The Antarctica world.
Oh, yeah. That's Holoska, or Halaska. And I think... Oh, yeah, then there's, the Arabian place.
Oh yeah, doesn't it start with an N?
Oh, let's see.
I can't think of it. But Yeah, it was more Arabian in a way.
Yeah, I can't even think of the level name. But anyways, yeah, there's that.
And of course, you each place, like you said earlier, had its own temple. You did the whole Chaos Emerald thing. And once they're all back, you get to go to the last place, which is Eggman Land.
Eggman Land, which is based around...
that one was... You would switch back from Sonic to being the Werehog and then back to Sonic.
Oh yeah, there was only one act for that, which you just, switch back and forth.
Because that was a long level.
It was a very long level, and it was very hard, but it was also... I kind of enjoyed it still.
Right, and then you would fight Eggman at the end.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of Sonic's last level in SA1, Final Egg, because of its, I don't know, it just reminded me of it for some reason.
Right. And then, after you would fight him, then Dark Gaia comes out and goes all Resident Evil.
Oh, yes. And then, there is one thing that I really like about this game is that the entire franchise leads up to, Eggman's always talking about, I'm going to build Eggman Land, and everybody's like, you're always wondering what would Eggman Land look like, and this is the first game where Eggman actually succeeds, doing what he's been trying to do for the entire franchise, which I really like. It's like, holy crap, man, it's Eggman Land. It's here. This is crazy.
And then, it's pretty bad we forgot about one of the main characters.
Is Chip.
Little Chip.
Chip, he's a very controversial character.
Yeah. And I kind of cried at the end.
Oh, David.
Because he was gone.
David. It's just like the ending of Gamma.
Right,
or a Gamma story.
As little side buddies, Chip was the one I never found to be annoying. He was more adorable in his own little way.
Yeah, I consider that. He was basically the comic aspect of the entire game, You would always see him in the cutscenes doing just random crap in the background.
Right. I mean, what little cute creatures offer you chocolate?
I know. It's perfect.
Everyone he went up to. Want some chocolate?
Want some chocolate?
Unless it's an evil scheme and the chocolate is really poisonous.
Jails. Oh, also, I think Dan Green voices more characters in this Sonic game than he has in any other Sonic game. Of course, there's the Ice Cream Man that Dan Green voices, which is glorious, but there's also one of my favorite character in the game, probably, Professor Pickle. Professor Pickle.
Yeah, I like Professor Pickle.
He's very obsessed with his sandwiches, he is. And he's just kind of there. He adds to the plot, but he's just there just to show off his nose. His glorious eyebrows. But you were talking about the end game, weren't you?
Yeah, about how it's a little different as a final boss would be. Well, in the beginning, it was a little different. Because you would be on, Chip would get the temples all together, and it would become a temple Megazord.
Which was pretty cool.
And it was a fight between, I guess, Chip versus Dark Gaia, and it would have parts where you would go as Sonic, speeding through different sections of the temple, and you would end up hitting one of Dark Gaia's eyes.
Yeah, and I really like that. I think the Sonic Unleashed, the final part of the game is really epic because the first time you play as Sonic running around the Temple Colossus, whatever, and seeing Dark Gaia's eye in the background, you're like, holy shit, this guy is huge. This means this is gonna be one hell of a battle. And it's
exactly.
It just it gets you in this mindset that this boss isn't fucking around, man. This is the biggest Sonic final boss we've ever had.
And then, everything got glorious when Sonic became Super Sonic.
Of course, and I think that this is probably one of the best super battles in any game.
endless possibilities playing in the background.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, this is like glorious.
A dark orchestral version of it, which was pretty sweet. Of course, it wasn't real orchestra, but it was still awesome all the same.
And then I had to hit the X button on the Xbox controller 60 times.
Oh, it was worth it. You see, I'm kind of good.
I broke my phone.
Did you? No, you did not.
No.
Oh my god. It's not that bad. But, I don't know. I'm kind of good at those kind of sections where you just have to rapidly tap a button. I don't know why. Just I am.
But, and then everything was glorious.
Yeah, and then Chip, you know, he continues without his natural life, I guess. Being sealed within the planet.
I guess he went back to sleep. I don't think he really died.
No, he didn't die. He just went back to sleep.
I was still sad though.
Of course, we're never gonna see him again because he'll be in that planet for years.
You want to know the one sad part in the game?
Huh.
Was the credits when they start playing. The woman starts singing, and it sounded sad, and they were showing pictures, and I was like, oh.
That was actually a guy. It's like one of those
That was a guy.
It was a guy singing that.
Oh my god.
But oh my god, it's like one of those commercials that are talking about abused animals.
I know. I'm like, Chip. No.
But yeah.
But I guess anyways, like most things, we gotta move on.
Yeah, I like that. I like Sonic Unleashed because there's a lot of heart put into it. You know, there's a lot of character development for Sonic, both Sonic and Chip. Not really Tails or Amy's also in the game, but she doesn't really play a part.
No, she kind of screws up.
Yeah, and this is probably in this game they really tried to limit how many characters they put in the game because they got tired of hearing all the complaints about there's all these useless characters. So there's only one useless character in this game, which is good. It's a step up. But yeah, Sonic Unleashed was a big revitalization for the franchise, I would say.
Right.
Like it made up for 06, I think. It definitely did.
I would agree.
I'd say, actually, well, I would say Generations made up for most of the franchise, I guess. So.
But
we'll move on.
Let's move on. Well, instead of a game coming out for the 360 and PS3, Nintendo finally, yes, Unleashed did come out for the Wii, but
it's not the same.
It was more of a you could get it for every console.
Yeah.
Where now Nintendo gets their hands, where they finally make this game, where it was available to play on their home console and on their handheld, the DS.
Indeed, which was Sonic Colors.
Yes, and Sonic Colors, look so bright.
The stars are shining tonight. Anyways.
But
Sonic Colors was, I guess you could say it's a fan service. No, I guess I wouldn't say, but, it's basically, I guess not an upgrade of the Unleash style of gameplay, but I would say it's like an alternate version. They basically took the daytime stages from Unleashed and made it its entire game. Which was a brilliant idea.
And oh my god, I had so much fun playing Colors.
I did too, although there are some difficulty spikes, like one or two, I guess, that they really got on my nerves. Like, the game, it's pretty easy, but it's really fun. It's short, but it's fun.
Right, and the music in that game was fantastic.
I know, the soundtrack is really good. Although, I was kind of let down by it, but because I don't know if you heard those fake music tracks that were rumored to be in Colors at first.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was one on Newgrounds that was really good, and I was really let down when I actually heard the real version. But it's still good. It's still really good. I don't know. There's so much. It's a very diverse soundtrack, which I really like. It's very happy and sunshiny and colorful and just like the game itself, so it fits.
Right. Well, I guess that would lead to story. So the plot for this one was Eggman decides to make himself, I guess you would call it a universal carnival in a way.
In space.
In space. And he had other planets. And these planets, for these aliens, I guess you would call them, they might have lived on different planets, but they all seem to be linked up somehow. If you know what I mean? I mean, they all had different abilities.
Oh, yeah.
But they were known as one name, which were
the Wisps. Which they're really different races of Wisps, I think, because you got the normal Wisps, the white ones that just give you sonic boost power. You got Orange Rocket.
Rocket.
Oh, I should just do that. And then you got Cyan, which is Laser. And then you have Green, which is Hover, and then Pink, which is Spikes. And
Blue.
Oh yeah, Blue. Cube. And then you have the what Eggman is converting them all into is the purple ones, which are Frenzy. And Frenzy is just the Hulk, I guess.
Yeah, I like Frenzy.
Yeah, Frenzy just destroys everything, and every other one is just pretty self-explanatory. Hover makes you hover. Rocket shoots you into the sky. Oh yeah, there's Drill too.
Right.
There's also Drill.
Yellow was Drill!
And which you can drill through the ground with.
Exactly. And you would go through all these different planets, and I really like Sweet Melon because I've always had that kind of fantasy, really.
Oh my god.
Giant donuts and ice cream.
Sonic visits Willy Wonka. But I don't know why there's cheeseburgers in Sweet Mountain. I wouldn't say
I don't care. It still looks like a good fantasy land to me.
I wouldn't say cheeseburgers are really sweet, but it works. It works. And I remember when there was first rumored to be that kind of level in a Sonic game. I was like, what the hell? What kind of idea is this? But it actually turned out to be really good.
Yep. And of course, I believe each planet you go to, when you defeated the boss of that planet, you freed the Wisp, from the torture they were going through.
Indeed.
And of course, a lot of the bosses in there were, you end up fighting the same boss again.
Yeah, you'll start out with fighting 3 different bosses, and then they'll pretty much come back, but they're just up.
It's like, haha, we've rebooted ourselves.
Yeah,
they're just expected than you thought.
They're either recolors or upgrades, whatever you want to call them. But
I found the Ferris wheel one not to be challenging a second time, so
yeah, it was pretty good. But I think the really big thing about this game was that they changed the voice cast, but except for the better. Which, I don't know.
Of course,
do you want to talk about
our beloved Mike Pollock was still voicing.
Oh yeah, everybody except for Mike Pollock, because Mike Pollock.
I think Mike Pollock is going to stay in for a good while.
Yeah, he is. He enjoys his job. I know he does. And I know he does because he actually auditioned again. They didn't just pick him. They didn't just keep him. He actually had to audition again, and he got the role again. But
right.
Then you have Roger Craig Smith, Chris Redfield, or whatever, Ezio from Assassin's Creed voicing Sonic. And you have Kate Higgins from Naruto that voiced Sakura as Tails, which is pretty cool. And the robots' names escape me.
One is isn't one Cubot?
Oh yeah, I know their names. There's Cubot and Orbot. Orbot was actually in Sonic Unleashed, but he was a different color and he had a completely different voice. But
and with Cubot, he had a problem in that game because his voice chip was missing, and they kept on giving him new ones. And
I really like that.
That was more of that was comedy there.
Yeah, what I like about Sonic Colors is that there's a lot of comedy in there. While there are a lot of jokes that make me cringe, honestly, but I like how they tried. At least they tried to give a bright, happy, positive feel to the game, which they really succeeded at, I think.
Probably my favorite quote from that game is when Sonic, it's the boss that you fight at the end of Planet Wisp.
Oh yes.
And he's like, no copyright in the universe is going to stop me.
That's the best line. ever. And that just...
I know.
Oh my god, I love it. It just... For a while, Sonic's personality was really dead. It really was. But in Sonic Colors, they really brought it back full force.
Yeah, I believe Ronger's been a good choice for the new voice for Sonic.
Definitely, I really like him.
Ronger's personality for Sonic is really good.
It is. I honestly, nowadays, I don't miss Drummond at all.
Right, and Jason Griffith, he was good, but, you know... Now he's silent in Pokemon. But,
he's a good guy.
You know.
He's a good guy. He doesn't deserve to be hated on, I don't think.
No, he doesn't need to be hated on.
But he did do some pretty bad performances in the past. I do agree with that. But, you know, he's a good guy. If you have... He's actually in a show called Casters, and I'm just saying this right now. If you haven't watched Casters on YouTube, watch it. It is an amazing show. It's intriguing. And I actually spoke to the producer, and he actually loved me because I advertised the show on Twitter. But anyways, that's not Sonic. But anyways, Colors.
But
it's simple. I like it.
right, so then after you go for like all the planets or whatever, we actually discovered that Eggman is really a final boss again.
Woohoo!
And, you know, everyone's like, oh, man. So you fight Eggman.
Oh, yeah. Burp.
You fight Eggman and this giant purple death machine. But, you know, you get help, you know, from the Wisp or whatever.
And of course that music. That Phase 2 music. Orchestral version of Reach for the Stars.
And then it was all over before you know it.
Indeed. Well, you know, it's a short game, but it was a breath of fresh air. Much like Unleashed, but I think Colors was more so.
Right. And, well, is there anything else of Colors you would like to discuss?
Well, not really. I mean...
Would you like them to bring a Colors 2?
I don't know how they would do it. That Sonic Dimensions was rumored. I know it's false. It was proven false now. But,
right.
That actually seems like a pretty good idea. Like having a spiritual sequel to Colors. Not a direct, you know, Sonic Colors 2, but something like it would be cool. I really like the colorful, happy concept of it. But, yep, Sonic Colors was, you know, as a lot of reviewers have stated, it's the first truly modern feeling Sonic game.
So, let's see.
And then we have the latest.
I guess that's it for Colors. And I guess that brings us to one more big thing.
The latest one, celebrating
20 years
of the Sonic series, which is Sonic Generations, a celebration of Sonic's 20th anniversary, showcasing, or I guess reimagining some of the, you know, the biggest, most popular levels from the series. And of course,
right.
And in this game, the big thing, I mean, the whole game is a big thing, I'm not even going to say that, but one of the big things in Generations was they brought classic Sonic back. Which was, oh my god, that was awesome.
Well, I thought it was amazing. When I first started to play the game, you automatically start playing the game.
Yeah, just like in Colors, too. And usually in 3D Sonic games, they have a cutscene before the game starts, but
it still was amazing because that in reality, and when you would first play Sonic the Hedgehog, as soon as you press start, the Green Hill Zone would, you know, the title would come up, and then you would start playing as Sonic. Just like how Generations is.
Yep. Press start, Green Hill right there. Except it looks beautiful. Everything. Oh my god, Green Hill Zone is. Oh my god, it's. I don't know. Generations just. While there is one thing that I really dislike about it is the story is very shallow. You know.
Right.
Admittedly, Generations is freaking fantastic. You know. It's a really good celebration of the last 20 years, you know. They got all the positives down, really, you know. They got the modern Sonic gameplay, which everybody's liked, from Unleashed onwards. And then, you know, they brought the classic Sonic gameplay back, which everybody's always loved. So, you know, you have two of the best gameplay features. And alongside of that, you have everybody's favorite levels in there, too, which is fantastic, you know. Everything in HD. Couldn't ask for anything more, except I can, because I want the story to be better. But, yeah, but I still think they could have done a lot more than what they did. You know?
Right.
You know, they could have had, I don't know. Hydrocity? I kind of want a Hydrocity.
Well, there was a lot of things I wanted, but I didn't get.
Of course, you know, it would take a lot of time and money to satisfy everybody. You know? So...
But only if it was real.
You know, but what they could have done, and I don't know why they haven't, but it seems like they could have put a lot more story into it.
Right, the story of Generations wasn't, you know, it wasn't long, but there really wasn't that story to it.
No, it was basically, how it went was Sonic was, I guess they were celebrating his birthday, because apparently he's 20, and canonly now. Well,
right.
They don't say it.
Chili dogs forever.
They don't say that, but, then, a being called, or the main enemy in this game, called the Time Eater, comes and destroys Sonic's birthday. He sends Sonic back in time, along with classic Sonic, which he sent back in time earlier. And he sends Sonic and his friends all back in time, and Sonic is the only one who isn't frozen, for some reason. I don't know. Who cares, really? So you have to go along restoring all these, you know, all the levels that you were gone through in the past. And then you eventually meet up with Classic Sonic, and Classic Tails is randomly there for some reason. Classic Knuckles isn't there, which I'm really disappointed by. So basically, you know, you're going through the entire game, just restoring all these places, wondering how the hell you're going to get out of here. And then you finally realize that apparently by running really, really fast, you can restore the time-space continuum. And then that's basically the story of Generations. You know.
Right. that really is just the story.
It's simple. It's a bit too simple, in my opinion. Like, unlike Colors, it was... Like, Colors had a simple story, but there was a lot of heart put into it. You know, just like, you know, the past few games, but I don't know, Generations just didn't hold up to that.
Right.
Which, you know, there's only 13 cutscenes in the game, and they're all pretty... They seem really bored of themselves, and... I don't know.
Well, at least they broke it down into, like, eras, because there was 3 chunks to the game.
Yep, you have the classic era, which is the classic games, you know. You have the Dreamcast era. Like, I should have explained, you know, what games are in there. We have the classic era consisted of Green Hill, Chemical Plant, and Sky Sanctuary.
Sky Sanctuary.
I don't know why they didn't include Sonic 3, but you know, whatever. The Dreamcast consisted of... This is the HD version, by the way. There's also a 3DS version, which has entirely new levels, but I don't know. Are we going to talk about 3DS version?
I guess we could.
Alrighty. Well, I haven't played it, so I
haven't either. So.
Well, I guess we'll just skip it then.
Okay,
but,
we'll skip it.
Dreamcast consisted of Speed Highway, City Escape, and Sonic Heroes, Seaside Hill for some reason, which...
Yeah, well...
I guess you gotta put it somewhere.
Right, you gotta put it somewhere.
And Modern Era consisted of Crisis City, Rooftop Run, and Sonic... I was gonna say Sonic Colors. I meant Planet Wisp from Sonic Colors. Which, I don't know. Overall, the level choices were pretty good, I think. There could have been better. You know, Seaside Hill could have been Egg Fleet.
You know...
I don't know about, like, I would have preferred Kingdom Valley for 06, but...
Oh, you know, Sky Sanctuary could have been Ice Cap or Lava Reef.
Well, for me, I was thinking, like, I was hoping that they would they would keep Sky Sanctuary, but put in a Sonic 3 level though, like Hydrocity or Icecyrpt.
I think they wanted to keep it 3 on 3.
Yeah.
On 3.
Yeah, I know. But, I guess when you do that... What I would have kind of preferred is if you didn't separate them into eras. That way, you could have included more games. Like, you could have... I think that's what they did for the 3DS version, but don't quote me on that.
Well, I think all I know for the 3DS version, because the HD version had 9 levels, the 3DS version only had 7.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but at the end of each level, you got a Chaos Emerald out of it. Because there was, in the 3DS version, there were special stages that they took the idea from the special stages from Heroes.
Yeah, those are the best special stages, in my opinion, so I think that was a good choice.
So, other than that, of course, in the HD version, you got your Chaos Emeralds by either going up against your rivals, which would have been Metal Sonic, Shadow, and Iblis Twigger, Silver here.
And then you got the regular boss fights, which were the Death Egg Robot from Sonic 2, and your Perfect Chaos, which was a brilliant choice. Like, that's my favorite boss in the game. Then you have Egg Dragoon for the modern era. And then you have the Time Eater, of course.
Right, and then you had your last Chaos Emerald would have been at the end of Planet Wisp.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, with having all the Chaos Emeralds, you could finally go and fight the Time Eater. And, you find out that the Time Eater is, once again, Dr. Eggman and Dr. Eggman.
Yep,
No, it's Dr. Robotnik!
Well, exactly, actually.
No one calls me that anymore.
And for this game, one of the big things that I actually did not see coming, I thought of it, they should, I thought they were going to bring Classic Eggman back, which, they did. But, as the game got near to its release, I actually didn't think they were going to put Classic Eggman in there, but at the end they did, which is pretty sweet.
Right.
And so then Classic Eggman and Modern Eggman team up and they tame the Time Eater, I guess. Because the Time Eater is actually just some energy, apparently. But the Eggmen tame them. Or tame it, and they make it their own, and they destroy the world with it.
So then when everything looks bad because both Sonics get crushed, all hope comes when Sonic's friends... Who means friends? Friends come in and they're like, "You can do this, Sonic."
And then they're like, "You're right." And then they go Supersonic, and then there's a final battle for you. And then...
Oh, yes, that final battle, let me tell you.
Do you not...
You got shit coming at you from different eras. Trucks, rocks. I'm trying to hit the guy. Jesus Christ, I'm running out of rings. Oh my god, fuck you. Oh, my rings, gotta do it again. Oh, what? Oh, Time Eater can do a spirit bomb, but it's on fire. Oh, but let me do the easiest thing they give you. Let's press the 2 buttons on the back.
Yeah, well, I guess David...
Automatical win, go now.
Obviously David's not a fan of the last battle, but for me, I thought it was pretty cool. I like how each phase will have different, parts of the different levels flying at you. Because the first phase is, the classic, I guess, and then you'll have, parts of Sky Sanctuary and Chemical Plant, Green Hill, flying at you. And then Dreamcast will have, City Escape parts, trucks, Seaside Hill, whatever.
Trucks come back.
That's cool.
I'm back.
I'm back. Did you miss me? And, I don't know. I thought it was pretty cool. And, I'm just disappointed about the story. It's just,
Yeah.
to be honest.
I mean, it's a fun game overall, though.
Yeah, everything else in Generations is perfect. To me, it's pretty damn near perfect, but the story is the thing that kind of, just
Right.
turns me off. But
Well, at least Sonic Generations was a better anniversary game than Mario.
definitely, it was definitely. I can't think of my words. I just love Generations. I do.
And then, of course, we're not sure what the next Sonic canon game is going to be.
Yeah, just
But
Generations.
It's really good.
Well, hoping Sonic Adventure 3, But
I wouldn't mind, Sonic Adventure 3, this summer. Hint, hint. If Sega listens, hint, hint.
I feel
Even though they probably won't.
I'm sure they're thinking of something. They know people want it, so I'm sure they're trying to make it.
Damn it, give it me. SA3, I want it now.
To be honest, I feel like they've been working on it, but they're trying to make it as good as possible so that it can live up to everybody's expectations. But yeah, for me, Generations was a very worthy 20-year anniversary game. It really showed everybody what Sonic was really about. That it wasn't just rock and bad glitches, and voice acting, and bestiality. It took everything back to the basics, really, which I appreciate. So.
Right. Well, and I guess that ends up to this point.
Any final thoughts?
Well, I hope we keep on running for another 20 years.
Or another 50. Or 100. Or forever.
Oh, no. Well, that's about it. Now, Sonic the Hedgehog series has been a very good game. Sometimes I do wish I got a Genesis instead of Super Nintendo, really.
Oh well, at least you've experienced them.
Yeah.
You might have not experienced them when they were released. I couldn't because I was born in 95. Sonic's born in 91, so
Right.
I still grew up with the classics in order though, which I'm glad I did.
Well, I guess this is the end of this fabulous podcast.
Oh, it sure was fabulous. So I guess that's it for me, Kyle, and Icecyrpt, YouTube,
And I guess that was for me, Dave Mio.
See you later.
See you later. Bye.